Many corporate strategies treat ethics as a dictionary definition, a static set of ideals with little practical utility in a high-pressure environment. Viewing ethics through a purely philosophical lens overlooks its functional role. It is a rigid operational framework designed to secure the long-term sustainability and reputation of an enterprise. Older regional business environments often operated within markets that tolerated significant gaps in formal moral standards. In these settings, commerce relied on informal, ambiguous networks and personal relationships rather than standardized, documented codes of conduct. As trade scales from local ports to a globalized economy, the volatility of personal trust becomes a liability. This shift towards standardization is accelerated by a new generation of professionals who view strict compliance and social responsibility as non-negotiable requirements. To compete on this global stage, an organization must replace the handshake deals of the past with a sophisticated system of corporate governance. Constructing that governance begins by separating two concepts that are often used interchangeably: morals and ethics. Morals are internal, personal beliefs regarding right and wrong. Because they are subjective, relying on an individual's mindset creates an unpredictable environment. Ethics, however, is an external, operational code for the professional setting. These rigid systems govern execution regardless of private beliefs. A robust enterprise cannot be left to the varied moral compasses of its employees. It requires an external ethical structure to standardize behavior across the entire organization. This structural architecture functions on two interrelated levels that must remain in sync. Individual ethics focuses on micro-level personal values like honesty. Organizational ethics encompasses macro-level formal policies that define the environment. This macro scaffolding includes specific mandates like minimum attendance rules and corporate social responsibility programs. These levels are interdependent. A corrupt organizational system will eventually compromise an ethical individual, while an unethical individual can cause a localized failure in a strong system. While personal accountability is a prerequisite, it is the organizational policy that provides the enforcement mechanism necessary for the company to survive a crisis. Maintaining an ethical organization requires adherence to 5 foundational principles. The first pillar is integrity. Integrity is defined by moral consistency under intense pressure. It is the refusal to compromise ethical standards under financial or social stress. Pillar 2 is accountability, requiring full ownership of actions without shifting blame to subordinates. We see this in practice when a company faces a product failure or an airline crisis. An ethical enterprise accepts responsibility and offers compensation to those affected. The third pillar is fairness and equality. Internally, this means conducting employee evaluations that eliminate bias based on gender, race, or background. Externally, fairness ensures that vendors and partners are judged strictly on merit rather than receiving special treatment through personal relationships. Pillar 4 is transparency. This is the practice of openness in financial reporting and customer communications, such as the honest disclosure of ingredients on a product label. Transparency does have a clear boundary. It requires financial accuracy, but it does not require an organization to reveal proprietary trade secrets or formulas, like KFC's secret spice mix. The fifth pillar is respect for others. This is the requirement to treat all stakeholders, including colleagues, community members, and even business competitors, with dignity. These 5 principles serve as the load-bearing requirements of the organization. They prevent the entire structure from collapsing when the enterprise is subjected to extreme market stress. Ethical breakdowns are often the result of systemic friction points that stress test these pillars, forcing a choice between personal and collective goals. Dilemma 1 is a conflict of interest, where an individual prioritizes personal gain over collective welfare. Second is the tension between loyalty and ethics. Loyalty doesn't justify quid pro quo arrangements, like doing personal chores for a promotion. Third is misrepresentation. Sharing internal gossip or bad-mouthing colleagues to clients destroys the transparency and respect required for a functional workplace. Fourth is the misuse of corporate resources. This involves using company equipment, time, or assets for personal gain, such as taking office supplies or making personal calls on company lines. The fifth dilemma involves gifting and bribery. Accepting non-standard incentives creates immediate bias and obligates the recipient to grant improper favors. To resolve this structurally, companies implement rigid zero-gift policies to ensure that every business dealing remains objective. These organizational systems mitigate dilemmas before they escalate, protecting the employees from having to rely solely on their individual integrity. Business ethics is the physical engineering of trust. It provides the mechanism that connects individual moral beliefs to consistent corporate output. As a new generation of professionals enters the global workforce, the demand for this structural adherence to ethics has become a market requirement. Relying on the good intentions of informal relationships is an automatic failure state in the modern industrial landscape. Long-term survival requires treating ethics as the foundational operating system of the business itself.